When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Best soccer show, North American Soccer Network, NASN.TV. Jason Davis and Jared DuBois. Wednesday night live edition of the program. We are here. Jared's here. He had to scramble. White shirt problem. Apparently the camera doesn't like the white shirt, Jared.
Yeah, as if a pasty white... Who would have thought pasty white skin and white shirts don't go together when on camera under light? Apparently not.
We are here. We are live. It is a jam-packed program. We have introduced Ask JRodius on Twitter, which I'm very, very excited about.
Oh, I figure Alexi has one. Why can't I?
That's right. Look, I think that there's...
Who wants to ask me questions? Listen, I get why Alexi has one. There's plenty of people that want to ask him questions. No one wants to ask me questions. They could call the show if they want to ask me a question.
They could. 201-430-2378, as a matter of fact. They could ask you directly on the air. Or, look, some people don't have access to the phone. They're going about their daily lives. It's 9 o'clock on the East Coast.
Have access to the phone.
Well, okay, it's 9 o'clock.
A phone is in everyone's pocket at all times.
Some people are working right now. There are plenty of reasons people can't call into the program live. So, Ask JRodius. Some people might not even listen. They'll ask the question, not listen to the live show, and then listen to the podcast later. Imagine that.
What podcast?
Well, okay. Well, you see now.
Should we address the fact that the colon and or digestive system of one Trevor Hayward has been so on the fritz as of late that we haven't got any shows out?
Oh. I think it's feeling very Arsenal right now.
He's got E. colon.
Which feels worse, Mesut Ozil or Trevor's colon right now?
My man got the E. coli.
Oh man, we have so much to talk about. I want to jump right in with the rap segment on the show. I really do want to jump right in with the rap segment.
You just want me to cringe right off the top, huh?
But I'm actually gonna wait because I got the air horn ready for the rap segment. But anyway, I'm just kidding. I actually want to bring up what we were just talking about. For various reasons, I had to ask Jared some questions about Umbro in the '90s. I just think this is a cool thing that sometimes we bring here. We bring a little nostalgia. I bet 90% of our audience has no clue what we're going to be talking about if we mention.
Oh, I think you're wrong.
Okay, not 90, maybe 65% of our audience who was born after 1990 to begin with. That's my concern, is that these kids, and God love them, thank you for listening to the show.
Listen, for the young ones out there, we're going to tell you the story of a time when white cleats and any color other than black was uncool.
There was nothing but black cleats. Everybody, we were just talking about this. Everybody had Umbro shorts. Everybody I knew in my age range from probably 5th or 6th grade up until high school started. You had Umbro. Everybody, whether you played soccer or not.
Yeah, I'm a couple years older than you, so for me it was like junior high through high school. But there was just and I was kind of telling you this earlier. It was just it was already hard to play soccer. Okay, to be a soccer player in general, like in the U.S.
You weren't a soccer player. You were just a soccer player.
But there was this thing, like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go out and find something that's ours or mine, And the Umbro shorts and the Adidas sandals were the two things, like, you could always find in my wardrobe at all times that represented soccer. And the weird thing is, both of them crossed over. And that was the really weird thing in the 90s, to see soccer paraphernalia cross over.
Yeah, it was interesting. 702, you're on the air. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Jeremy from Las Vegas. Love the show. I thank you guys for what you do.
Appreciate that.
I just wanted to ask you guys what you thought, and do you have any worries about for our game going to be played in the Ukraine here in a couple weeks? So I know it's 300 miles away from the major stuff in Kiev, but it's not looking good.
No, it's not. Jeremy's bringing up something that I've definitely got on the agenda for tonight. The Ukraine friendly has got to be in doubt. Kiev is where everything is happening. It's the capital of Ukraine. But this game is in, I think it's Kharkiv or something like that.
I think you got to treat this like a Catholic in the bedroom and pull out.
I'm with you, dude. I'm completely with you. Pull out 100%. there's no reason to even risk it. And
is it like even like listen? Okay, if there's not many other teams that you're gonna be able to schedule something around. It's a FIFA international date. Most teams have something set. Do you just try to move it to a neutral ground someplace nearby and still play Ukraine?
Maybe. Look, I mean, U.S. Soccer says they're considering all options. I don't know how the Ukraine Federation is doing right now. I imagine it's tough to do business as usual with the things that are happening in their country. But if they are hell bent on playing this, then yeah, find a neutral venue. Pool your money, rent a place to play.
Surely Klinsmann's got a homie in Germany with a field.
Somebody, there's got to be a venue open. Thanks for the call, Jeremy. You got anything else, man?
No, that's it. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Thanks for the call. That's all right. Let's get to Deuce. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get to Deuce. I got a worldwide exclusive. It's not completely at all an exclusive, but I'm going to pretend that it is right here on the Best Soccer Show. If you missed this is from.
Congratulations.
You want to go back in time and not have heard this, don't you? You wish you could go back in time.
I feel like, okay, we remember when Deuce first got to England, he was the American guy that rapped. You know, so every person that had an interview with him wanted him to do it, and it was cheeky and it was his thing. And then he doesn't do it. I feel about Deuce rapping the same way I feel about Will Smith. I look and go, oh, he still does that?
Okay, you mentioned that. First of all, unfortunately for Deuce, he is a white rapper. That is part of the issue here, right? That's got to be part of the issue. Second of all, not that I have anything against white rappers, but that's obviously part of how you process what he's doing.
My man Eminem's made a nice trail for other gentlemen. It makes it easier.
The good ones are few and far between. The second part of this is you feel like he's outgrown it, and he's younger than I am, and I still listen to rap. And if I could do it, I would do it right now. I would spit something right now, but I can't, and I'm not going to try. I don't pay good money. I'd have to write it. I'm not doing freestyle. This was not freestyle, by the way. He's had this rhyme in his head for a long time.
He wrote about snowmen months ago.
You ready? Hold on, I got more. More air horns. I got more. All right, here we go.
Do this shit because there's rhymes more.
Oh wait, hold on. That's I'm even helping Deuce out right there. I forgot. I slowed it down a little bit. Let's play the original because he goes so damn fast you can barely even hear what he's saying. All right, here we go.
Do this shit because there's rhymes for a reason, and while you're breathing, competition still grieving, quick to leave lesions like a slapper trade the season, player fields at even, steady bobbing and weaving. Remember lies are deceiving, frosted the snowman flow will stay freezing. Stay low, you're no treason, lines with cohesion, Superman bars till adhesion.
All right, now look, when you do it dry like that, it's never going to sound good. It's just never going to.
I just wish he had scheduled a couple like rests in there, and Eddie Johnson just pops out nowhere and goes, yeah, what, yeah.
I thought that it was weird for them to put him on the spot. I thought it was weird for him to actually do it. And then he at the same time, like right before he did this, right before he spit, he said, I'm going to get back in the studio and I'm dropping a mixtape with my boy. I was like, oh, here we go.
When he says his boy, is that Eddie Johnson?
He had a name. I wasn't familiar with the
Steve Zakawani? Because I hear he's good.
No, don't even start on that. I don't know.
Now that Steve Zakawani is in Portland, are they allowed to collab?
Maybe they. I don't think they are. I think that's crossing enemy lines. I don't know how that works. I don't know how the Portland Crews and Seattle
Tupac and Biggie doing a collab together.
The Cascadia feud. Two things about this before we move on, because look, this isn't really a big deal. It's just hilarious. Two things about this. One, I'm excited for the return of Deuce, real Deuce, 2010 Deuce. 2006 Deuce. I'm all in on him being back like this.
Okay, but so I have a question for you, though. I have a question for you. Did he have to swallow this part of him to succeed in England?
I don't think so. I bet you
My man goes over there, fresh as hell, talking like rhyming left and right. Doesn't rhyme for years in England. No, comes back to the States, and all of a sudden, my man's rhyming again.
But see, I think you're missing something here. There's no chance he ever stopped rhyming. No chance he ever stopped.
In public.
He may have been doing it in the basement of his flat. Well, you have a basement and a flat, but he may have been doing it in the basement of the house he was renting in London. But he was doing it. This was going on in London. He was keeping his skills tight. Trust me. I just don't know.
Wouldn't you pay cash money to see a song/video made with Dempsey rapping and Berbatov just singing over the top like a melody, like in the breaks, like doing the bridge?
Man, there's so many possibilities.
How many white tigers are behind Berbatov in that video?
It's just a sea of white tigers and Berbatov floating on top of them.
On a sea of this white tiger's floating on a sea of cognac.
Some of the shots he's wearing just like boxer briefs. I'm not saying I want to.
Sure, why not?
And the other shots, full tux, like going out and playing baccarat in Monaco. Like that's what he's doing in that video. Absolutely. So return it, Deuce. I'm very excited for that. All right, we can move along a little bit. Get to some actual news if you want to. How about this, Jared? Is Landon Donovan saying that he thinks the 2014 World Cup will be his last World Cup? Is that news to you?
It's news that he's come to the same conclusion probably most of us have come to. I don't know if does anyone would expect him to play at 35 in a World Cup?
I think there's a lot of people who think that if any American player can do it, it's Landon Donovan. Not only
he could.
Right. But I think we all doubted it because of his burnout, right?
I think there's that, and there's definitely that. I think when you think about, if you think about 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5-time World Cup players, how many are there in the world that have played 5 World Cups? Not many. Not many guys' careers go 5 World Cups, and there's a reason for that. It's hard as hell to do, despite how good you are, to stay at that level for that long, to stay fit for that long, and to also have the passion keep going for that long.
To not be overtaken by a younger generation. If you play in 5 World Cups, I would think, and there may be some exceptions. Italy may have one. I don't know, and certainly in eras past, it may have been different. But in the modern game, if you get to 5 World Cups, it probably means that your country's not producing that much new talent, but they're still good enough to qualify out of whatever region we're talking about, right?
That's the most American way to ever discredit Landon Donovan right there.
I'm not discrediting. No, I'm not saying that's the United States problem. I'm saying that if there are guys like that already, the 5-timers club already, that's why they're 5-timers.
If I remember correct, I think Lothar Matthäus did 4. Maldini did 4, right? I believe for Italy. There's a few guys that are up there in 4 that are big names. 5s, man, I'm struggling to remember who members of the 5-timers club are.
770, you're on the air. What's up?
Hey guys, this is Hayes.
What's up, Hayes?
How are you guys doing?
Oh man, we're good. We got Deuce Rap. How could we not be doing good?
That's right. Oh yeah. So I have a proposal for the Sounders Media Department because I know they're listening.
Okay.
What they need to do is they need to take that soundbite and have that in the season opener, kind of like they did when he first arrived in Seattle.
Yeah. Okay.
And kind of get a montage going, and that will surely get their season kicked off how they want.
No, look, if they're going to use it, if I'm Clint Dempsey and they decided, first of all, I'm saying, look, if you guys are going to do anything with me rapping, get in the studio, let me do it clean, because this was not under optimal circumstances. And again, I started playing it earlier, Jared, and I'd actually slowed it down a little bit. Let's see if this sounds just. I won't go through the whole thing, but I do want to slow it down a bit just to see if it sounds just a touch better. Here you go.
Do this here because there's rhymes for a reason, and while you're breathing, competition still grieving. Quick to leave lesions like a celebratory season. Player fields at even, steady bobbing and weaving. Remember lies are deceiving. Frosted the snowman flow or stay freezing. Stay low, you know treason. Lines with cohesion. Superman bars till adhesion.
Till adhesion. Yeah. No, I think
I'm still staying with the fact it now sounds like Lou Ferrigno rapping at that speed.
Does it sound like Lou Ferrigno? Okay, there you go. Yeah, Hayes, look, this is it's exciting to see.
Hayes, would you have issue with Steve Zakawani collabing with Clint Dempsey off the field?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Sign me up. Sign me up for that.
Are you a Sounders fan, or are you just giving advice?
No, just giving advice.
Yeah. So, why would he care?
I think it'd be a good move.
No, see,
it'd be a good move.
Zakawani, never mind. I don't want to go. I really don't want to badmouth the kid.
He's just a hype man. Maybe he's just a hype man.
Stuff too well, so I can't say anything.
Okay, apparently you don't watch a lot of you didn't watch a lot of videos on MLSsoccer.com in 2013, because if you did, you know about Steve Zakawani. So there you
can't escape it.
Thanks a lot. 201-430-2378 is the phone number, by the way, if you want to get in. All right, so Landon Donovan, I guess that's not a reason to continue to try to get to the 5 times and be the 3rd player ever. Is that what we just established?
There's something to be said for that, though, right? Producer Trevor is doing stat boy duty and letting us know that 2 5-time World Cup players all time, Antonio Carvajal and Lothar Matthäus.
Right.
And what makes Matthäus even more impressive is that the only other guy in the 5-timers club is a goalkeeper, which makes a little bit of sense that a goalkeeper could go that long.
Yeah.
Do you have Lothar Matthäus and Landon Donovan in the same breath for field players?
Yeah, that'd be pretty amazing. That would
pretty cool, right? Is that enough to push a guy 4 more years, though?
Well, okay. Not only are we dealing with his burnout, what he actually said was that he doesn't know if he'll be able to walk in 2018, much less play in a World Cup, which I think is him being hyperbolic, obviously. But he clearly is dealing with an engine that is running down, or mileage on his tires. Like, he's clearly dealing with some physical problems. Not meaning that he's not the player he used to be. So he would not only have to last another 4 years and be able
US would have to qualify.
But then there's the other. This element is interesting to me. If Landon Donovan entered 2018 still playing, close enough to the World Cup team to be considered, doesn't that mean there's pressure on whoever's coaching then to include him just to get him to this 5th World Cup?
Well, what do you mean who's coaching that? It's going to be Klinsmann, right?
Well, okay, come on now. You know we can't predict the future there.
Okay, I'll say this.
Possible.
4 years from now, couldn't the experience of Landon Donovan be a good inclusion as a substitute player, a veteran guy to bring in? I mean, it's possible. It really, really. I mean, they're so far away, and it's so much to think about, and there's so many variables involved in it. It's really hard to talk about, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But again, I think that
the guy's got the longevity
because he's Landon Donovan, and because of everything he's met, and because of the type of goals he's scored, and being a Mexico killer, and all of the things that are on his resume as a national team player. I just wonder if there would be a little bit too much pressure, and it would become in itself a distraction whether or not he's going to make that team and be in his 5th World Cup. And
so what you're saying is that Landon Donovan is in danger of becoming the American Blanco. The guy that's just there to be there.
By that point, he could absolutely be the American Blanco. Absolutely. But I don't think he would be, by that point,
the crutch of a country.
Something like that. I mean, they call them talismans for a reason. I mean, it's not an American phrase or American word, but they call them talismans for a reason, that they have this sort of magical element about them. And that guy for the U.S. has always been Landon Donovan since 2002. So if you reach that situation and you're in, it's March of 2018 and you've got a 22-year-old who's faster, who's more, who's got more energy, who could potentially start for you, while Donovan's probably only a substitute player. And then there's the question of Donovan playing in his 5th World Cup. I think that's unfair to put the coach on that, is what I'm saying. I think it's unfair to make the coach choose between legend Landon Donovan and 5 World Cups and tying
I'm sorry, that's what a coach is paid to do.
This is true. All right.
Make the hard decisions. You think it was easy for Bob Bradley to leave guys like Charlie Davies behind? Everyone wanted that call. Everyone wanted that inclusion.
But I don't think that was a hard decision for him. I think it was harder. I mean, there was some talk about it outside of the team, clearly. But I don't think that was a hard decision for Bob Bradley, knowing what he knew about Davies and his physical condition. This would be different.
And he's got the same. Klinsmann's got his own decisions to make this year too. If Steve Cherundolo, with no appearances for the national team in a year, if he's playing 90 minutes going into the World Cup and making your decision, is that enough? There's coaches make these decisions all the time.
People are going to be talking about Stu Holden. I'm not saying he deserves to make. I have no idea where
if he's on the field. People will talk about it.
He's told several people. He showed up at training with the national team during January camp. I think he just did something with Jimmy Conrad. He's shooting for the end of this month for reserve matches for Bolton.
Let me do a little either or for you.
Either or pick your poison, because I don't know that
this is more of an either or. Okay, you don't have a drop for this.
I don't have a drop for this.
You don't have a drop for this, but tell me either or. Okay. Stuart Holden's playing 90 minutes for the last month going into the Klinsmann's decision, okay? Either or, Stuart Holden or Benny Feilhaber?
Oh, man. If Benny Feilhaber's a starter for Sporting Kansas City, I'd take Benny Feilhaber.
Stuart Holden, mixed disc route?
Mixed disc route.
Stuart Holden or...
He's not going to be sharp. I mean, that's the problem. He's just not going to be sharp. There's just zero chance of him being where he was
or
before.
Dax McCarty.
I'm not going to get snowed by the idea, this mystical idea of what Stuart Holden could have, was at one point and could be for the national team. He's not beating out any of those guys. Here's the
thing: he was decent enough in the Gold Cup this summer. That was what you saw in the Gold Cup. Was it better than what you're seeing from Benny Feilhaber right now?
No.
Okay, I think you're allowing 2 good games in the postseason for Benny Feilhaber really overshadow because it's more recent.
No, I'm valuing, and I know, look, form is fallacy, blah, 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 but I'm valuing that consistent playing time and being in a rhythm and having 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 played in competitive matches, and he's going to Benny Feilhaber will have been in the Champions League with Sporting leading up to this. I just don't think that Stuart Holden, even
I'm playing a little bit devil's advocate here. I'd pick Feilhaber too, but okay. I just think that there's decisions that a coach has to make, and this is what he gets paid, to make the hard decision. I think the Cherundolo one's really one of the hardest ones if he's playing 90 minutes around that time.
Yeah.
Now I haven't looked. I don't remember if Cherundolo's gotten minutes recently. I can't remember if he's done the last couple of weeks or not. But he's. I guess at center midfield, you don't have the same kind of attrition right now that you have at the fullback position. So Stuart Holden's buried under a sea of midfielders.
Even if Stuart Holden is just burning it up for Bolton in the last month before the choices are made, he has a lot of competition ahead of him. And so, it would take a series of injuries to guys like Bedoya and Diskerud and Feilhaber and all of those. It'd take a series of injuries or absolutely disastrous play, and none of those guys are going to fall off the face of the planet with that for Holden to overtake them. And I would love to see him there as a story, as a guy who's going to be writing and thinking about the World Cup, and I would love and talking about it here, but I don't see him overtaking any of those guys, even if he's playing 90. I mean, because really, how many games are we talking about here?
I don't know. It's not many.
He can get a bunch of reserve games. Okay, that's good. He plays a month of reserve games, then he goes back into Bolton's lineup or into Bolton's team, but they're not going to start him right away. So he's going to be coming off the bench for a month or 3 weeks. Then how many full 90-minute games is he actually going to get at a championship level? I just don't think it's going to be very many. So I don't know how he could possibly overtake anybody. It's interesting.
He could conceivably have more games than Breck Shea, though, at that level. And we're talking about Breck Shea.
But Breck Shea's the thing that works in Breck Shea's advantage is that he has a unique skill set that is not replicated by anybody else in the team except for somewhat on the same sort of level, Brad Davis. Or as Trevor says, AKA has a left foot. We don't have a guy who can stand on the chalk and hit a cross outside of Breck Shea.
Brad Davis?
And Brad Davis. That's what I'm saying. Brad Davis and Breck Shea, those two guys. There's two of them. How many center mids are there that can play both ways?
Yeah. Not many.
That's Stuart Holden's problem. All right. That was interesting. It really was. It wasn't a pick your poison, but it was kind of along. I like how you threw out this whole scenario. If this thing happens and if this thing happens, then maybe possibly consider it.
I'm just setting it up, man. I got to set it up.
I know. Along those lines, since you brought it up, and I think we went through our 23-man roster on Monday, which, by the way, that Soccer Morning podcast, it will arrive in your inboxes at some point. I promise. Trevor has overcome.
As soon as Trevor can stop kneeling in front of the toilet, he'll go to the computer.
Yes, as soon as the disease is done ravaging his body, he'll get that posted for you. We did a 23-man roster on Monday. We both had 4 forwards, right? We both.
No, I had one additional forward than you. I had one less defender. You had taken. Man, I can't remember. You took one more defender than I did, and I took an extra striker.
I actually had 3 forwards on my original roster.
Because you had said Dempsey and Donovan can both double up.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I had reason to think about the 4th forward, if there's going to be one. Let's presume there's going to be one. And I'll give a tip of the cap over to our boys at American Soccer Now. They have a poll on this. There's 6 guys they list in this poll as possible choices for the 4th spot. Juan Agudelo, Terrence Boyd, Hercules Gomez, Julian Green, Mike McGee, Chris Wondolowski. Do you know? Guess who's winning this poll?
Wait, say the names again.
Juan Agudelo, Terrence Boyd, Hercules Gomez, Julian Green, Mike McGee, Chris Wondolowski. Who's winning? No, not even close. Julian Green is running away with it. 35% of the vote.
Oh my God, that is so Tiger Beat influence.
I do. But it's right up your alley. It's
he's the Justin Bieber of American soccer right now.
Oh, that's kind of cold, but his hair makes it work just a little bit.
He's Justin Bieber when he was still hanging with Usher. It's like, ooh, who's this kid? He's kind of sexy. He can sing a little. Let's make him huge.
810 responses. He got 35% of the vote. I mean, that's a small sample size. And, I get it. From a fan's perspective, he's exciting. He plays at Bayern Munich. He's only had, 3rd division games. He's got 15 goals in 18 games in the 3rd division. But, once upon a time.
And somehow that's more valuable than the MVP of MLS.
I know. I actually think that of those 6 guys, and I reasoned this out, I actually think Juan Agudelo makes the most sense, but we can talk about this later.
Whoa. How does Juan Agudelo make more sense than Mike McGee?
Because he's a game changer off the bench. I don't think Mike McGee is going to change a game by himself.
I guess I don't think of Mike McGee's necessity in this team to be a guy that changes the game by himself. I think Mike McGee's best asset is what we don't have, and that's a poacher.
Okay, but when do you need a poacher versus when do you need a game changer?
Okay, then tell me this. You can't take Juan Agudelo and Breck Shea then for this, because you'd be taking each of them for the exact same reason.
Okay.
Oh, they're game changers, right?
Fair? Yeah, that's probably fair. That's probably fair. You're only
I'm just saying,
in one of those.
Mike McGee is more valuable, first of all, because of the poaching ability. He's more veteran than Juan Agudelo, and he can play midfield if you need him to.
He can play midfield. He is
Danger Zone!
I don't know why I did that, but he is versatile. He is able to play multiple positions. I suppose that's part of it. I concluded that Juan Agudelo made sense, again, because you're down a goal in the 80th minute. Juan Agudelo is the type of player I want on the bench. I mean, I know Mike McGee can score a goal, don't get me wrong, but Juan Agudelo can create something out of nothing, and I just don't think that element exists anywhere else in your team, except for maybe Clint Dempsey on his good days, and who knows what we're going to get.
All I'm saying is that Mike McGee, at the club level, is a guy who has risen to pressure situations. Postseason, being the guy in Chicago, and he's just never had the opportunity to show if he can do it at the international level. Juan Agudelo hasn't done that at any level.
Okay, I just don't know if Mike McGee's going to have enough of a chance to prove it ahead of the World Cup. I mean, maybe Klinsmann will take a guy he's never had in the team before, and maybe McGee makes an impression against Mexico in April or something, and that's his ticket. But I just don't know. I think that Klinsmann would be more likely to take Wondolowski than McGee if he's going to take that kind of guy.
He's super boring practical.
But Wondolowski is more dependent on service. He's a poacher, but he's more dependent on service.
Definitely.
He's not as electric and as
here's the other reason why you're going to take Wondolowski instead either of those other two guys. How many camps combined have Mike McGee or Juan Agudelo been in under Klinsmann? One, maybe? Has Juan Agudelo been in a Klinsmann camp?
He went to Russia last year.
You're right. He went to Russia and had an assist in that game. So
he may have been with the team in
how many times has he chosen to bring Wondolowski in? Consistently. Yeah,
I think he likes something about Wondolowski. There's a lot to like. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it if he ended up picking Wondolowski. It's not about deserving. It's about what I imagine is the sort of player you might need in a given situation. Now, he may decide, well, I don't need a forward like Juan Agudelo who can be erratic. I mean, he could pull something out of his ass, but he'll be erratic at the same time. You may not want that guy. You may want a guy who plays within the system, or a guy like Wondolowski who's going to make a brilliant near post run and get a flick and score the winning goal to the back post. I mean, or the tying goal to the back post. I don't know.
I realize that what I'm about to say has extremely small sample size of pretty poor teams that it's against, but I like Wondolowski only if he has Landon Donovan playing nearby him. I think they have a really good understanding of how they play the game together. Looking at the Gold Cup, looking at the Korea game, even when I've seen them in All-Star games play together, I just think that Wondolowski makes runs that Landon Donovan understands.
I think there's that. Wondolowski needs service, which, okay, look, a lot of strikers need service. Josie Altidore needs service. That's not necessarily a strike against him. I'm just saying that he needs service. He makes good runs. He needs somebody who can find him on those runs. He scores on rebounds. So if you're going to get Wondolowski some goals, you better take some shots. And he is, he's the type of player that he can score from 12, 15, 20 yards out, but he's got to have a lot of space. And he's sort of got to be able to turn quickly. Otherwise, there's no shimmy.
Wondolowski falls in this weird category. Does he stretch a defense? No, he doesn't have the speed. Does he play back to goal? Not really. No. So what kind of striker is he?
Yeah, he's a back shoulder striker. I mean, he's slipped a defender striker. He makes you fall asleep.
He's one of many strikers the U.S. has. He's just better. He's very similar to Kenny Cooper, Nate Jaqua. I mean, those guys. Josie Altidore's that guy. He's just a better version of that guy.
Okay,
that striker we make that's 6'2", 200 pounds, and doesn't have a role to play.
Okay, I think that Josie is better with his feet than all of those guys you mentioned, which is
I agree. I said he's a better version of those guys, but I'm saying we make this big target-like player that isn't a target player.
Yeah. Does Terrence Boyd fall into that category, or do you view him as a target?
Maybe. I don't know if I've seen enough of him to really make that decision, but I think Terrence Boyd's going to bubble. I think he's going to bubble on this team, dude.
You what?
I think he's going to bubble. I don't think he's going to make this World Cup.
Oh, no, he's not. No, I don't think so. And the part of the reason I bring up Terrence Boyd is because, and in light of this discussion, is because Julian Green is what is now what Terrence Boyd was a couple of years ago. Now, he's younger and he plays a little bit of a different position and he's a different kind of player. I'm not comparing them as style. I'm not comparing their styles. But if you remember, Terrence Boyd was playing in the reserves for Borussia Dortmund, scoring a bunch of goals, dual international, question of who he was going to choose. And then it became, okay, well, he's not going to get time with Dortmund. He's got to go find a place to play senior squad football. And now he's in Austria.
And in his defense, he's scoring goals there as well.
He is. And I'm not saying that he's not good. And I'm not even saying that he couldn't be a national teamer of consequence. I'm saying that the sexy has worn off. That we don't have the same infatuation with Terrence Boyd we did 3 years ago.
I hate it when the sexy wears off.
It just wears off, man. All right,
well, let me give you a little either-or striker edition then.
You keep doing this either-or thing. It's throwing me off. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of bits. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have bits.
Terrence Boyd or Hercules Gomez? If you got to take one to the World Cup, which one are you taking?
Terrence Boyd.
Terrence Boyd or Mike McGee?
Mike McGee.
Terrence Boyd or Chris Wondolowski?
Chris Wondolowski.
Terrence Boyd or Eddie Johnson?
Eddie Johnson. Yeah.
Okay, so you have him pretty close to where we have him on in our panel we do for ASM 100, where he right now he's one spot behind Hercules Gomez, and you're saying he's in front of him, and I would probably agree with that. I think that's about his range. I would take Mike McGee over him as well. Mike McGee is behind him right now. Juan Agadello's behind him. I would put Mike McGee in front of him right now, and Juan Agadello behind him. I would take Terrence Boyd over Juan Agadello right now.
I admit that I may have something of a blind spot when it comes to Juan Agadello. I just think that his ceiling is so much higher than most of the guys in this pool, and I know he hasn't realized it yet. But when I watch him play, when I watch him do stuff like he did for the Revs last year, it's wow factor, and that's part of the sexy too. Like I know a lot of people have kind of pushed him to the side, and now he's in Holland, and it's coming back a little bit.
Let me tell you this. Chris Wondolowski, right now, according to ASM 100, which you and I take part in, Chris Wondolowski is the 10th ranked striker in the American pool. Yet we're both saying he has a very good chance of making, one of 4 striker spots in the national team?
Yeah, well...
In all fairness, they're listing Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey ahead of him. So technically he'd be number 8 striker in the U.S. national pool behind Josie Altidore, Aaron Johansson, Eddie Johnson, Hercules Gomez, Terrence Boyd, Mike McGee, and Juan Agadello. Then Chris Wondolowski. Yeah, Does he get a bad rap for being Chris Wondolowski?
Yeah, people slayed on him because and you know he got all those chances and didn't do much, and then when he scored the goals, it's against weak competition, and people hold that against him, and it's probably not fair. It probably isn't, but such is life. And look, it doesn't really matter what we think. It doesn't matter when
you spurn a lot of chances at the national level. I think just the kind of hit you take. Granted, he's been better in the Gold Cup. He's been better against Korea. But it's the level of competition thing that's working against him still. And I think until he shows he can score against top competition, he's going to continue to get slighted for guys that haven't even made a cap anytime recently, because at least they haven't kind of S the bed at the international level anytime recently.
Yeah, by the way, this is going to annoy all of the guys I know out there in San Jose that that are involved in the Earthquakes organization. They don't like me throwing shade. I threw shade on the logo. They got upset.
What? They deserve that.
All right. I think this is a very good time. We got a couple of voicemails. Phone lines are still open, 201-430-2378. We have a couple of topics. We're going to talk about Michael Bradley's comments in relation to Jurgen Klinsmann, talk about belief. And then Leander Sherlackins on MLSers and the number of minutes they get in the World Cup. He wrote a very good piece at Inside MLS on FoxSoccer.com or Fox.com, whatever it is. So we can talk about that. But I think this is where we should throw in Ask JRodius, just because I want to make sure we give this as much breathing room as absolutely possible. So let me just go ahead.
Way over anticipate or overvalue how much people want to hear my opinions on things.
Oh, whatever. People ask questions, we're going to answer them. We won't spend forever on it, but let me drop this in.
JRodius.
You better ask fun ones.
I better ask them? Or
you better ask the ones that are out there that are fun.
All right, look, I've favorited a bunch of them. I know there's a hashtag out there. I may have missed a couple. We'll see if I missed any. But let's go all the way back to this one. Now, this one is related to something that happened in Columbus. Apparently, you told somebody's brother-in-law You look like you need some help. I don't remember this. Do you remember that?
Dude, I probably needed help. I was sloshed, dude. I mean, to be all there was a lot of Johnny Walker talking at that point.
We were pretty beat up there in Columbus, having a good time at the AO party.
Whoever it is, I apologize. You probably maybe I just thought I don't know. Maybe I thought you needed my help as a wingman to get you a chick. I don't know what I thought at that point, dude. I was in two minds.
This one's JWay883. He wants to know what your day job is, and he wants to know how much money it would take for you to quit and do soccer full time. You can leave the second part off. That's really kind of.
No, I don't care. I'll answer it. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you how much I make now, but I'll tell you how much it would take for me to quit.
All right. Yeah,
by day job, I am a department manager at I'm the distribution center department manager for the shipping department for a warehouse. I'm not gonna say what company I work for. I work for a big box retailer, but
yes, he works for a big store.
Actually, I take it back. Actually, I'm going to be managing 3 different departments as of next week. So, but I have 3 different departments I manage. The
man got a raise, or did you get a raise, or just?
I wish.
Just more to do, right?
That's the problem with being good at your job. There's always more to do. And then, honestly, for me to quit, I do it for a little bit less money than I'm making now. It would have to be somewhere in the $55,000 to $60,000 range with a 3-year contract. I wouldn't do it without that kind of security.
Man, you're a responsible person. I'm sitting here. I'm floating. I got
but listen, you had the unfortunate luxury of
getting laid off.
Getting laid off, like I'm not in that position. I can't throw away all sorts of responsibilities I have without having security.
If you got laid off, and nobody wants that to happen, but if you got laid off, you would do this with me. You would try this out. We would try to find more revenue.
Well, I'm looking for another job for sure.
While you're looking for another job, sure. That was kind of what
is now the soccer public now rooting for me to be fired?
Yes, they should be. Why wouldn't they be? Yeah, absolutely,
because that means I can't put food in my children's mouths.
Well, he died doing what he loved. Getting shot.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, they should be rooting for you to transition seamlessly into a full-time soccer position. Honestly, somebody needs to hire you to do social media. I know you don't have any of the fancy degree nonsense, which is somehow a thing. How is that a thing? How is social media expertise?
Well, here's the problem with that, dude. That thing didn't exist when we were in college.
I know. And you don't need to.
I would have done that thing in a second.
Somebody should be hiring you to do some kind of internet content.
Nobody wants dick jokes attached to their brand.
You are more than dick jokes, and don't even. Okay, whatever. All right, let's move along here. Somebody should be hiring you for that, and then you could do this stuff on the side. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one is. I like this one from Mike Chico. Where do babies come from, Jared?
Oh, man. I think most of them come from John Terry and Frank Ribery.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's that. They're out there. And all right, let's see.
My babies come from. Honestly, my first baby came from I was out of town for 2 weeks, came home for Mother's Day, and was out of town for 2 weeks again. And she tells me that's how it happened.
Oh,
you draw your own conclusions. You've seen my boy.
That's a very narrow landing zone,
I know. And so trust me, listen, if this was a courtroom, there'd be a shadow of doubt.
Wow. Mrs. Rodius is taking some heat. At least she's getting some questions thrown out.
She's taking something.
There you go. All right, Matt Rathgeber. I don't know. M. Rathgeber 22. The Drogba to Sounders FC rumors. I don't know that this is technically an Ask JRodius, but we might as well address this. Do you believe in any of the Drogba rumors, and should we start Drogba watch right now?
I don't believe they have a DP slot, do they?
No. But
then I don't believe it.
Doesn't stop LA. Come on, man.
What they have 3 DP slots and they have 3 DPs. Toronto's who it doesn't stop.
No, this is true. At the moment, it doesn't stop.
So
Toronto.
Are they going to try to unload Obafemi Martins on probably Chicago Fire because they take everyone's cast off DPs?
Yeah. You
got to make room somewhere. Do I want him? I'd take him in a second. I think that'd be fun, but I don't see how it's going to happen with the players that they have and the contracts that they have right now.
All right, glancing header. My JRodius question: where's your favorite place to sit in the StubHub Center for LA Galaxy games? You're mostly a press box guy these days. You're a sellout.
These days, okay, but my original seats, I crap you not. My original season ticket holder seats are probably the best seats you can have in season, and they're right. Literally, my butt crack was on the half line, and I was 8 rows up from the field. The thing about the StubHub Center, what people may not know, the front row is not a good seat. It's not a good seat because the angle and how low you are and the distance you are away from the field doesn't work that well. You want to be a few rows up. So if you see front row tickets to the StubHub Center, don't get those. Get something about 5 to 9 rows up.
No, it's definitely not. It's like it's my problem with a lot of the preseason video that we get. You don't always get the good angle. You get the low.
Well, it's MLS 1.0 in that they thought that they should leave room for directors' chairs, a line of directors' chairs on the field for VIPs, rather than looking at like models like of European clubs where the fans are literally 10 feet away from the sideline, and they're right there. You're too far away to hear the conversations and the crap talking that's going on in the field with a front row seat, yet you don't have the view to make up for it.
Are you telling me that Jack's not showing up to Galaxy games? He's just at the Lakers?
I've not seen Jack. I have seen Will Ferrell. I've seen Rob Riggle. I've seen Christopher Pratt. I've seen a number of other celebrities there.
Did you ever...
Nick Kroll. I saw Nick Kroll there once.
Yeah, Nick Kroll. Did you ever see... Drew Carey back in his Galaxy fan days?
I remember I took a picture of his press box when we were there for MLS Cup.
Yeah. You did. But I meant back before he was involved in the Sounders.
Yeah, he used to have a dedicated box. It was right next to the press box. It was on the north side of it, and you could see it. He was always right there before he bought the ticket to the Sounders.
All right, let's see what we got here. Nathan Nady Wilt.
But no 22. Wine questions?
Yeah, hold on. We're going to get to those. Is Team USA the most annoying thing about the Olympics? Asked JRodius. The whole Team USA thing we have to say.
Or we have to all love each other because we're from the USA kind of thing.
Have you seen the commercials with the gloves and we all got to hold
I've honestly watched about 15 minutes of Winter Olympics. There's just nothing for me there. I live in Southern California, dude. I don't have a frame of reference for this crap.
You've gone ice skating. Don't lie. That's happened.
Yes, I don't choose it as a lifestyle, or I went for the gimmick aspect of watching. Hopefully, I thought my wife was going to fall, and I could point and laugh, and she didn't fall, so she kind of did me dirty on that.
All right, Andy Smith, Andy_SMTH, best winery in the Inland Empire, Mr. Rodius.
It depends on what you want. Personally, I'll give you 2 recommendations. First of all, with any wine appellation, any area that is a wine area, you want to go off the main street. If you're on the main street, you're going to Disneyland. You're not going to someplace that's got intimate atmosphere. So you're going to go down to Temecula in the Southern California. You're going to go all the way to the main road ends, and it turns into this little windy road, and you're going to a place called Chapin Family Vineyards. Little privately owned thing. You can stop it. And if you really want to go way off the beaten path, go to a place called Palumbo. Really good cab.
All right, there you go. There's your IE wine recommendation from one Jared DuBois. I do want to have you come out to my hood because Virginia's got a pretty bumping wine scene, and
Which your family participates in, correct?
Mom has worked in the wine industry for the last couple of years in Virginia,
and yet you've never sent me a bottle.
It's not really like that. I can do that. I'll ask her to hook me up, and I'll get a bottle. She used to manage one. Now she's doing tastings and stuff. Anyway, all right. Will Carpenter, Will Carp 20. Who will win the Champions League this year and next? Surprise team of 2014 in MLS. Why did
Bayern Munich win it this year?
I'm assuming he's talking European Champions League, but maybe he's talking about CONCACAF.
Oh, maybe he is. I don't know. If it's European Champions League, I'm picking Bayern Munich. They're just way too good.
And if it's CONCACAF, it's Mexico team and Mexico team, and then we can move on quickly.
If it's CONCACAF, I am actually going to say that Portland has a good chance of doing it.
Oh, no. I don't know, man.
You're going to pick against Portland?
To win the Champions League? Yes, because no MLS team has ever won the Champions League. I'm
telling you that Caleb Porter's just man enough to play his normal style on the road in Mexico.
No, he might, and they might be successful. I'm just never going to pick an MLS team until an MLS team wins it.
How about this? Let's make it really fun, and let's say that the Cosmos win the U.S. Open Cup, and next year they win the CCL.
Oh, God. Yeah, that'd be fun. That would be
the topics you'd have to discuss on Soccer Morning if that happened.
Yeah. Will also wants to know what happened to the usual opening. I changed it up just a little bit. Just sue me. It'll come back.
Didn't even notice.
Sean Connery will come back. He's not going anywhere. Leonardo Camargo, Mondavi Malbec, or Wild Horse Merlot.
Oh, first of all, why are you buying Mondavi? If you're going to buy, Malbec's a native of Argentina. Buy Argentina if you're going to have Malbec, okay? And Mondavi is the devil. You don't want to go. Mondavi owns everything. They don't put their name on everything. Listen, if you buy their highest level cab, you're fine. What was the other one he said?
Wild Horse Merlot.
I don't even know what that is. I picked that.
Okay.
I love Malbec. I love Malbec, but Mondavi's the devil. Don't go with Mondavi.
I don't know what this means. It says 5-cent Bevmo wine sale or $2 Chuck now $2.50. I don't know.
5-cent Bevmo sale. Okay, what the deal is there is you buy one bottle, you get a second bottle of the same thing for 5 cents.
Okay.
So you spend $15 for the first bottle, you get the second one 5 cents. You're buying two $7 bottles, but you have all sorts of array of things to choose from. There's good options there.
All right. So can I throw in what's should I be getting what should I be looking at, like Woodbridge or
what do you like?
I'm just fucking around. Sorry, I'm just I cursed on you.
I treated you like a serious question. That was my fault.
You screwed with me because I wasn't really asking. I buy stuff. I have no idea what I'm buying. All right. Best. This is from Cole. 2 left feet with an underscore at the end. Greater Texan U.S. player Clint or Brick Shea?
What? Is that even a question?
I don't know. I don't think
I can understand if you ask Kenny Cooper or Brick Shea. At least then I can talk about it a little bit.
And while you're breathing, competition still grieving.
All right, sorry. Thanks for that, Clint.
That could be better if you somehow mixed in Nagadocious somewhere in it.
Yeah, Leonardo comes back with a couple more. Can you say creme de la creme better than Jurgen does?
Creme de la creme.
Creme de la creme. Do you speak any French, Mr. Dubois?
Je parle français. Let's see. I can't remember how I say took, but I took 3 years of French in high school, 2 in college, and my Spanish is now better than my French because I never use it.
Yeah, well, there you go. You got to use it.
Yeah, I can say I learned a pickup line. Je veux le toit dans tes yeux. I see the stars in your eyes.
Oh, it's not voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
No, it has never worked.
850, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Bennett.
What's up, Bennett?
Not much. I want to talk about MLS best 10 presidents. On Monday on Soccer Morning, you all talked about best U.S. presidents, best 10.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of a bone to pick with some of those selections.
Oh,
so if you got some time, I'd like to do my best 11.
Wait. We're doing a callback to President's Day? Is that what you're telling me?
I am, yeah.
All right.
Well, in his defense, you haven't done a Soccer Morning for him to bring it there.
That's true. We haven't been able to be on the air yesterday or today. So, okay, fine. Quickly, Bennett.
Quickly. I've got George Washington back in the goal as captain.
Okay.
First president.
First of all, you're wrong right there. Clinton's way better with his hands. I
like Washington.
That one might work. I might have to rethink that one.
I like
good balance standing up in the boat. We've got Abe Lincoln and LBJ, both 6'4" on the back line.
Okay.
On the left, I got Woodrow Wilson, played baseball and track.
Okay.
Very brainy, good defender. On the right, Teddy Roosevelt charges up San Juan Hill.
I really want to hear where you have FDR in his wheelchair.
Go ahead.
Midfield.
In the midfield, got a bald guy, goes by general named Eisenhower.
Okay.
Playing the Michael Bradley role.
That's not bad.
Bald.
I could see that working.
A destroyer.
Eisenhower, who shared command with Omar Bradley, who shares a name.
By the way, I take issue with the fact you didn't put Teddy Roosevelt with Eisenhower in the midfield. By putting him at the right back, I think you're misusing his big stick.
All right, okay. Go ahead. So you got Eisenhower. You got Eisenhower in your midfield. Quickly, seriously.
Quickly. Jared said that Obama was the most athletic president. That's what prompted this call. Gerald Ford played
football
at Michigan.
Yeah. No. You misrepresent me, sir. Obama's the most athletic president while being president. That's what I mean by that.
That's actually not. That's probably a good shout right there. Yeah. That's probably.
Has any other president been able to do a layup and or a fall away J?
Has any president tried to run besides Barack Obama?
Clinton ran a lot.
That's jogging. That's not running.
Because I've got George W. Bush at the 6 because he ran 5 miles a day as president. So he's running. Okay. He's the best runner of the U.S. presidents. I'm going.
All right, look,
George
you need to get to your wingers and your strikers before we have to hang up on you quickly.
That's fine. JFK and Ronald Reagan, both show business type players. They're my guys up top.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I appreciate the call, Bennett.
Good hair up top. That's a lot of good hair up top.
Bennett from Tallahassee, Florida, calling in with his president's lineup. I didn't know.
Sorry, Clinton's the best goalkeeper. I mean, the dude can work a wide out like nobody else.
All right, there's just too many easy jokes for you. Now, if I gave you a president,
he should be a striker because he had more shots go astray.
we could do this. We could like reverse this too, and make it name a president, give them a position. I don't know. Maybe that's not quite as fun.
Clinton's done all the positions.
Yeah.
You keep feeding me, dude.
Yeah, right. I just can't do it. All right. I think that's the end of Ask JRodius. I think we've exhausted all of the questions that we've got. If there's any more, maybe we'll hit them later. Phone line's still open, 201-430-2378. Phone calls take priority over pretty much anything. So if you get in, we will get to you. But let's talk about these two things that I laid out before. Do you want to talk about Michael Bradley's response to Klinsmann, or do you want to talk about the MLS minutes in the World Cup?
Let's start with Bradley.
All right. So Michael Bradley at the MLS media event, which is also where Brad Evans apparently put on a little show with Mike McGee and Matt Beasler as his guest, as like he was a talk show host, which is pretty amusing. Michael Bradley is there, and I don't know if he was directly asked about Klinsmann's comments or if he was asked about the plight of Americans in Europe or what. But obviously he is the poster child for coming back to MLS before you quote unquote have to, right? Yeah. So Klinsmann has said, he's on the record saying that Americans lack the belief to be among the best players in the world. Here's Michael Bradley's response. This is, by the way, this is from ivaskellersep@goal.com. There's no doubt, as Americans, we continue to have to fight for respect, and we have to continue to show that we have players who can play at the highest level. You would have hoped that that now what's gone on, whether it's in Major League Soccer or the national team or with certain individuals over the past 10, 15, or 20 years, would have done more for us. But the reality is that at the moment, there's still a little bit of feeling that if you can have an American or an Argentine, they're taking the Argentine. I think that kind of puts it all in a nice little nutshell. I don't
say it this way: it's easier to get an Argentine approved by a board, right?
Not necessarily. I mean,
well, I would say so. With the pedigree of Argentine players, you're not going to have to sell that as much, even if if the skill set is the same. You've just
described the whole. How can I get a job without experience? Like, how can I get a job that requires experience if I can't get a job to get experience? I mean, it's a chicken or egg situation,
okay,
right?
If you got two guys and you're picking for a 2-on-2 basketball game, are you picking the short guy or the tall guy?
That's different. We're not
tall guys have a better track record of being good at basketball. It doesn't mean he's good.
It's true. Okay. All right. But
you could be stuck with Eldon Campbell and Jason Kidd, and you just picked the wrong guy.
But you're talking about superficial appearances. We're talking about two players who you have tape on and scouting reports and have seen play more than likely. Otherwise, why are you signing them?
Well, let me say this. Here's the advantage that the American player has. Which one can you get for cheaper? The Argentine or the American?
It depends on the country. There's lots of laws about, there are laws.
I would say for the most part, you're paying more of a premium for an Argentine player than an American player.
Maybe, but a lot of Argentines, there's a lot of Argentines who are able to get European passports and blah, 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 blah. I mean, there are a lot of reasons for why it may happen that an Argentine gets signed over an American, but it doesn't matter the reasons if it's the reality for American players, right?
I just wish Bradley would come out on Good Morning America or something like that and say, I came back because I got paid.
No, that's obviously a part of it. And he mentioned, I don't have the article up in front of me, but he does mention at one point, he does mention at one point the personal reasons behind the choice. I mean, he does say it's not just about the issues of Americans in Europe. I think he's just, I don't even think he's making an excuse. I think he's just saying that this is the reality of it. And yes, we have to fight harder. But if you have the option to come back here and get paid and the league is better, why wouldn't you take that over fighting, and perhaps, getting rusty ahead of a World Cup or not playing enough or whatever the reason?
Because then you become the whipping boy of American soccer fans who feel like you need to be out there like just butting your head up against a wall. You and I don't begrudge Michael Bradley for a second. No. Get paid, son. Get paid. But there's a lot of people out there that have issue with this. And it's crazy when you think about why didn't Alexi Lawless get issue when he came back to MLS when it was starting? Why did Nall did not get issue when he came back to MLS when it started? There's a lot of guys that played in Europe and came back to MLS to take part in something. But they didn't get flack because MLS was new. It was their duty. But Michael Bradley, he doesn't any less sense of a duty to come back and do something for this league. Isn't he perhaps doing just as much by coming back at such a high level?
we've established that that's part of the dynamic for Michael Bradley, that he is giving the league a little bit more of a luster by coming back at 26. Again, it's getting paid. It's all of these things. Here's another quote. He says, again, some people can look at that as feeling sorry for yourself, but for me, that's reality. For every guy who steps on the field for the national team, for every guy who goes to Europe, and every person who steps on the field in a game for Major League Soccer, it's our job to make sure we can show and prove that we have players who can play at the highest level and deserve to be playing at the highest level. So that's the goal and the motivation. It says, when asked specifically if he thought there was anything to the notion that American players lacked self-belief, he shook his head and said no. And, I think that, again, just because...
What's he going to say? I doubt myself.
No, but I think he's talking for everybody in general.
Okay, but what professional player is going to say, I doubt myself? I doubt that I can do it at the highest level. Klinsmann saying that maybe he believes it so, but no player in the right mind is going to come out and say, I don't think I can make it.
That's not, but we're talking about what they feel behind closed doors, not what they say in public. What they say in public's different. That's not really necessarily how they feel. I mean, I think Juan Agudelo goes to Europe and thinks he's king, whatever. I think certain players do that. Clint Dempsey probably went to Fulham in like quiet resolve. I'm going to show I can do this. But there are players who go. Landon Donovan's a perfect example. Went to Europe very young. I know that's part of it, but went to Europe very young. It was obviously tougher than he thought. And he may have been as good or better than most of the players he was in that age group with. But for him, he just doubted himself a little bit too much and ended up coming home. And that's a fair criticism.
But it's a fair criticism, but also you got to realize that dude was doing uncharted territory. Americans don't go overseas at 17 years old and try to. There was no sketchbook. There's no blueprint for him for success or to be ready for what's going to be ahead of him. Yeah, that dude was on virgin snow.
Yeah, I suppose that's the case. I just think, again, I think that if anybody can say this and have it not necessarily be, reflect back on them as a negative, it's Michael Bradley. He can say, I think that there's still not a problem. I still think it's hard for Americans. Again, I'm not saying that that's an excuse. I'm not whining about it. I'm just saying it's the reality of it.
He has that cred.
It's going to have an effect on American players and their choices, especially if they are on the level of Maurice Adu or Michael Bradley and can get paid.
Okay, to that effect, talking about big name players coming back to MLS, Leander Schlacken's article about the amount of percentage of minutes gone to MLSers in World Cup has dropped precipitously over the last 4 World Cups.
Good job.
Does this year beat 1994, which is 60 what percent?
Okay, he's got 98. He doesn't have 94.
Sorry, I apologize. 98.
He's because you didn't have a league yet. 98. No league then. I apologize. 98, 62.8%. 2002, 46.9. 2006, 32.3. 2010, 18.5. So boom, down, like just stepping down.
But does that mean it gets better? I don't think there's in 06, 18.5%. Sorry, in 06, 32.3%. We got sloshed.
Yeah, no. Okay? Here's what I think is you have to be careful of. The minutes are going to go way, way, way up this year, of course. I mean, lots of MLSers in this mix. I don't necessarily think that you can tie that, or we, without some further evaluation, should tie that to the quality of MLS as a whole. I mean, I think MLS is better, but I don't know.
You could say that now, but the U.S. makes a quarterfinal run, and the percentage of MLSers is that high.
Yeah,
you're going to draw the conclusion of that means MLS is a good league. Is it as fair than to say if they go crashing out that MLS is a poor league?
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to say this proves MLS is a good league because I know that the other way around, if they crash out, isn't fair either. So what I would say is all this proves that MLS doesn't make for bad internationals. That's all I would say. I wouldn't say it proves anything. I would just say it means MLS doesn't turn Michael Bradley into a bad player. That's all.
I agree, because I totally agree, because they crashed out in 06 and no one's blaming MLS then. If they go crashing out this year with a higher percentage, no one's going to blame MLS there. It's the American soccer system that may just not be up to par.
Okay, fine. That's fair. We have raced to the finish line. I think we're going to go ahead and close this one out. Our hour is up. That's how fast this goes. Ask JRodius on Twitter. Keep that up. I just want that just to keep rolling. Ask JRodius on Twitter. Let's see. Show at bestsoccershow.com for emails, iTunes ratings and reviews. What else? Anything? No?
That's it, dude.
Yeah? Is that it? All right.
I think so.
So Soccer Morning, we should be back on the air tomorrow, Thursday. Make sure you listen to that. on nasn.tv/live and YouTube, NASN channel on YouTube. That's,
by the way, we could have gone long on Monday too, man. We're talking it up lately.
Yeah, no, I know. Maybe we'll, I don't know. We'll definitely be back on Sunday on this show. We'll figure something out because we do owe the people a little bit, right?
I don't owe nothing. Trevor owes them.
Okay, Trevor does. Trevor needs to do a show. All right, that's it. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
The best. Only the best. Oh, it's incredible. Danger Zone.
Michael freaking Oscar for Scout.
Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
You're not the boss of me! You're not the boss of me!
Duh and or hello.
JRodius.